It is time for the Purdue Boilermakers. Barry Odom. Can he improve what was a 1-11, 0-9 team in 2024? We'll find out here in just a little bit. Welcome back to Armchair Analysis. This is June 3rd, 2025. And again, it's the Purdue Boilermakers preview show here on the channel where we talk and look into everything we can over the roster, the entirety of the 2024 season even. And then we take a look into the future by predicting the full schedule. So make sure you stick around. Don't want to miss any action here. And after this video is over, you can go back to the channel. There's a playlist on the channel of 2025 college football team previews. We started off strong. Florida State had Oklahoma State yesterday. We're on to Purdue today. So here we go. The Purdue Boilermakers in 2024. Again, 1-11, 0-9 in conference play. Ryan Walters was fired, and a new era began. Barry Odom was hired, formerly, of course, the head coach at UNLV. Has spent some time at Missouri, known lately, most recently, for this go-go offense. And what it's going to look like at Purdue, I have no idea, but we will certainly talk about it. Josh Henson comes in to be the offensive coordinator. He spent 3 years at USC prior to this. And then we have Mike Shearer coming over from UNLV, defensive coordinator. Just really a lot of continuity coming with Barry Odom and a lot of transfers. This is one of the heaviest transfer portal classes in terms of volume in the country. It might even be the most in the country. But before we get into the new, let's talk about the old a little bit more. This is a team that in 2024 averaged 15.8 points per game and allowed 39.9 points per game. Both of those were good for 130th and 131st in the country, respectively. The turnover differential per game was minus 1.2, meaning that they gave the ball up 1.2 times more than their opponents during games. That was good for 130th in the country. A clear issue. And, you know, this is not an I told you so segment. It never has been, never will be. But when Ryan Walters was hired, there was a contingent of people who knew that this was not going to work. That he was certainly in over his head and just not the guy to keep Purdue going. What keeps Purdue going is innovative coaches. Jeff Brom, you could even go back to Joe Tiller. Coaches who kind of did things a little differently. And Barry Odom's one of them. This go-go offense is one of the most... It's a gadget offense, but it works. I shouldn't call it a gadget offense because I think that's kind of simply used as a derogatory term. It's kind of like, oh, you know, you're only successful on gadget plays. But what this offense does is it speeds the game up for the Purdue offense, which can be good in most cases, and it can also be bad at other times. We'll discuss why both of those can be true as we go. But the biggest thing is they only bring back a few players from last year. I mean, I could probably count on... Okay, it would take 3. I need fingers and toes, and I don't do that here, at least not for free. But what we have here is a team that is just completely brand new, essentially. The returning players, they're a handful. Ryan Brown, it returns. He's a guy who transferred out at one time and then transferred back, was the backup last year to Hudson Card. He's going to step in to lead this offense, and I think that there's a lot of upside for Ryan Brown. Devin Mockabee is a guy that I like. I think that he can be a successful running back in college. I don't think he's beyond a college running back. But then you also got Malachi Thomas, Jaheim Merriweather. There's some guys here that could really step up and maybe up the ante, I guess, for the running back room and who will get the majority of carries. But Malachi Thomas coming over from Virginia Tech is a guy I like a lot to pair with Mockabee. At wide receiver, Denylon Morsett's the only player returning at wide receiver over 100 yards on the roster. Everybody else is a transfer, including guys like Nitro Tuggle, Charles Ross. This is a team that I think the receiver room is a prove it mentality, especially at the Big Ten level. Same thing with the tight end group. Christian Moore is going to be the guy. He's replacing Max Clare, which, suffice to say, you don't replace Max Clare. You just try to find a way to replace the production all around. I think they're going to do that because I think that receivers are going to be more involved. I think that guys like Denylon Morissette, a guy that I think can be a really big playmaker for this team, can step in and kind of fill the void. All 5 offensive linemen are going to be transfer starters. Every single one of them has prior experience on the field, but they are not necessarily the most experienced players. There's a couple sophomores, a couple seniors. Jalen St. John going to be the left tackle, a guy. I think he's probably my favorite guy on this offensive line, which is a good thing because he's at left tackle. He's going to have to protect Ryan Brown. It'll be an interesting team to watch mesh and get things figured out over the course of the season, especially offensively. I can't wait to see what this looks like at Purdue. As for the defense, we'll transition over to that for a minute. This is going to be, for those who don't know Mike Shear, it's typically a base 4-2-5 defense, which is solid. But all of their starters are coming from the portal, -2. CJ Madden, Jamarian Harkless, a lot of guys are really excited for those two to come back. Beyond that, though, this team is just a lot of new. But a lot of it is also, at the same time, a lot of it's coming over from UNLV. In terms of the entire portal, really. The whole class, the majority come from UNLV. The biggest leader here, I think, is going to be Tony Grimes, a guy who has Power 5 experience, went to UNLV to better himself as a player, and wanted to play under Barry Odom. And now he transfers with Barry Odom to Purdue, and is going to step in and probably be the leader of this defense. There's a lot of things to like. There's a lot of things not to like. There's a lot of things to be concerned with. But from a 1-11 season last year, there's a lot of things to like if you're a Purdue fan. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. As for expectations, I think that just being more competitive is probably the biggest thing. But here's word for word what I wrote in this book when I was studying this team. I expect improvement over the Walters era for sure, but a tough schedule and trying to mesh 50-plus transfers together. Barry Odom has a big hill to climb in West Lafayette. At least in year 1, he has a big hill to climb. I should make that very clear. But what I think of this team is pretty simple. They don't have the worst schedule in the world in terms of strength of schedule, but it is a tough one. They play teams like USC. They got Notre Dame on the road. They go to Minnesota, Illinois at home. Rutgers is going to be an interesting team to say the least. You get Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, and Indiana. It's not an easy schedule by any means, especially when you close out with, again, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Indiana, with a bye week in there. It is going to be a see what we got and build, because I think that Barry Odom is going to get time, and I think Barry Odom is going to be around for a while until somebody else decides they're going to pick him up. Ultimately, the unfortunate thing for Purdue is that's what happens with Purdue. Anytime somebody does something unexpected there, they typically get picked up pretty quick and move on, or they stick around for a while and then they just kind of retire out. And that, in the case of Joe Tiller, at least. But since we were on the topic of schedule, let's go ahead and discuss the schedule for the Boilermakers. And it begins with 2 real easy tune-up games, Ball State and Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is sketchy. They beat Northwestern, a team that was kind of doing the same thing a few years ago. This is just a program that you don't really want to play when you're trying to figure yourselves out. Doesn't mean I'm predicting a loss here. Just means that they're a team that I would be really concerned with playing personally. You get USC, Notre Dame on the road on September 20th. It's going to be a big one. Then you get a bye week before you go and have Illinois come into town. Minnesota on the road, Northwestern on the road, Rutgers. That's an interesting game where it's put, but I think it'll be a fun one. I have my eyes on that Northwestern Rutgers matchups, both of those. I think that's a place where Purdue can really show, hey, we're not as bad as we were last year. Michigan and Ohio State, I expect improvement from Michigan. Obviously, the 8-5 year last year was probably going to be an outlier in this 2020 decade, bearing or barring any further sanction, I suppose, from the NCAA. Ohio State, defending champs and one of the favorites to do it again. I don't really see what more to say. Washington is a really good football team and a team I think a lot of people should have their eyes on. If Jed Fish is going to kind of trajectorize this team, might have just made up a word there, I don't know. But if he is going to put this team in a trajectory to be a national contender the same way that Kalen DeBoer did over there, it's going to start with this year and specifically Damon Williams at quarterback. You get your bye week and then you face Indiana rivalry week. That's an interesting dynamic, especially in Ross-Ade Stadium. It could be Spoilermakers on that one. I don't know yet. We'll see what I think here. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to kick it off with 2 straight wins. I think you do beat Ball State handily. This is a team that I think, the MAC typically has a team that's on 0-12 watch, and I think we might be talking Ball State here in 25. Obviously, Kent State is still there, but it's going to be a tough year for the Cardinals out there in Muncie. As for Southern Illinois, this is a tough team, and this is going to be a real test for Purdue to make sure that they are together and cohesive. But I think they'll get through it. I think they'll get the win. You follow that up, you go on the road against USC, and year 2 for Danton Lynn as a defensive coordinator out there, it was a marked improvement over Alex Grinch. I think we can all agree with that, and truthfully, if we can't, then I need you to go back and rewatch the USC team last year. The offense does have a few question marks, but really not as much as I think people want to make to believe here. I like Jaden Mayaba. I think he's going to be a really solid quarterback for the Trojans. I'm giving USC the win, even on the road in Ross-Ade. I think that's a tough game. I think it's going to be closer than we think, closer than maybe the spread will indicate, but it's going to be a fun one over there. You go to Notre Dame, and I think this is a national championship contender. You're playing 4 teams who have potential to enter the national conversation at any point this year, given what they could do. I'll say 3, I guess. Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State. I'm going to count USC. I mean, maybe wait and see, but you'll lose to Notre Dame. I think this is a team that's just it's gonna show you where you're outmatched. If you're a Purdue team, man, I'm tripping over my words. I apologize. It's gonna show you what you're missing and what you need to improve on going forward over the course of the next couple of seasons. If you're Barry Odom and the Boilermaker coaching staff, you're gonna lose to Illinois. This is an upset spot. Illinois is a team that people are expecting to be a national champion. Not national championship contender, a college football playoff contender, who could possibly be last year's Indiana. That's what people are saying. Do I personally agree? I don't know, actually. I think they might be a fringe playoff team. But I think they're just significantly better. And again, it's going to take a while to really figure out who you are. Where I think it turns is this game against Minnesota. No, I don't think Purdue wins it. But I think this is where you start to really get more comfortable working together, becoming that cohesive unit that you're supposed to be. But at the end of the day, you're going to walk out of Huntington Bank Stadium on a 4-game losing streak. You'll follow that up on the road against Northwestern. And look, I am as big of a Preston Stone fan as anybody in college football. I don't know how I feel about Northwestern. I'm giving Purdue the win. I think this is going to be their first Big Ten win in well over a year. They'll go ahead and follow that up with a win at home against Rutgers. I don't really know how to feel about Rutgers. I love Greg Schiano. I think he's as good of a head coach as you can find at a place like Rutgers. The biggest thing for me is this game being in Ross-Ade Stadium. This is coming off a momentum of 1 win against Northwestern. You want to kind of keep it going, especially knowing that Michigan's going to be a tough place to go play. I think you sit here, you're 4-4 right now, and you're like, okay, who are we going to upset? It's not going to be Michigan. I think at this point, Michigan is going to know exactly what they are, and they're going to be firing on all cylinders by the beginning of November. A lot of faith in Bryce Underwood to get it figured out and going. I think the wide receiver room has a lot of questions, but there's some talent there, especially with a quarterback who's capable of getting them the football. The running back room, the offensive line is going to be improved. A lot of returning production there. The defense, I think, is going to be really good. I don't think you're going to get that upset over Michigan. I don't believe it's going to be Ohio State. I think Julian Saint's going to be the starting quarterback. I have no problem saying that right now. What I believe to happen here is that typically when Purdue is a better team, and they might be a better team this year, they may be a team that could do it here. Usually Ohio State going to Rouse Stadium spells trouble. And this game may be a little bit ugly. But at the end of the day, the one thing Ohio State has not done and does not do, especially in the Ryan Day era, is lose the teams they shouldn't. They typically do a pretty good job of taking care of business. I think Ohio State will win. You go on the road, face off against a Washington team who is, without looking at their schedule, I think they'll be sitting bowl eligible, probably a little better than that. I think this is actually a really, really good Washington team. I like what they are. I like Damon Williams. I like what Jed Fish is trying to do. And I think that this game being in Seattle is the biggest. If this game was in Ross Stadium, this would be my upset spot. This would be the 5th win for Purdue. It's not going to be, though. I'm going to take Washington. You get your bye week, and then you go on to play Indiana. I don't know if I buy the hype around Indiana. I think they're a good team. I still like Elijah Surratt. I like Fernando Mendoza coming over from Cal. The defense is going to be good. I think Kirk Cignetti is in prime position to kind of repeat last year's performance and maybe return to the college football playoff. But this game sits in an interesting spot where it may just be enough. It may just be that pride to win your in-state rivalry game. But I'm going to take Indiana. I think Indiana will win. Knock Purdue to 4-8. But 2-7 in conference and marked improvement on all sides of the football. This team builds really well into the future, I think, with Barry Odom at the helm. As long as he sticks around, we're going to be talking about them for years to come as the Spoilermakers moniker returns with Barry Odom, is what I'm trying to say. Over-under win total is 3.5. I got the over, clearly, 4-8. I think 5 is in the cards somewhere. The odds to win the Big Ten plus 30,000, I would not take that, certainly. And I certainly wouldn't take national championship odds at plus 100,000. Nobody should. But those are the odds because I'm going to put them up there for every team in case you're curious. So, with that said, that is it for Purdue as we exit this first round going through the Power 4. Mississippi State is up tomorrow. I'm really excited to talk about Jeff Lebby's squad. I think that there's improvement afoot for the Bulldogs. Much like I think there's improvement afoot for these Purdue Boilermakers. Let me know what you thought of the video if you've gotten this far. If you're a Purdue fan, let me know what I'm missing. If you're just a college football fan, I mean, I don't care who you are. Let me know what I'm missing. If there's somebody that I didn't mention in this video that you think needs and deserves the light, put it down in the comment section. Let everybody else know. And yeah, super appreciated the your time today, really. If you made it this far, all I ask is please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. You don't want to miss it because we got plenty more to go. I mean, we are just 3 teams into what is 68 straight days of team preview content. On top of potential double uploads, I probably have a review of College Football 26 when it comes out. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon here in the month of June and even on in as we lead towards the 2025 college football season. So I thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a blessed rest of your day. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. The Mississippi State Bulldogs up next.